For those who have been following LinkedIn or Twitter or basically any social media where you find product tech people, everyone is building stuff. Some people are talking about the democratization of digital product building. It started with no-code, low-code platforms, but now with AI tools, it just exploded. We have even Andrej Karpathy, who was AI director at Tesla. He was also a founding member of OpenAI, and he's saying that the hottest new programming language is English. And I think he's right. Well, in the past months, let's say in the past year, a lot of different AI tools have been published around that can help people build stuff, that have helped me build stuff, that can help you build stuff. If you don't know them quite well, I would say for those who are familiar with code, you should go for Cursor or GitHub Copilot. For those who are not that familiar, go with V0 or Lovable, which is the heart on my slide. I personally use Cursor, which is a code editor that's a fork of VS Code that has an embedded AI chat, which allows us to ask for new files to be created, to edit files, to debug, to modify. It does basically everything. And it uses Claude Sonnet 3.5. That's a screenshot of how Cursor works, but I highly recommend you to download and test it yourself. Well, and once you start building, as product managers, we can build MVPs, POCs. You can not only ask software developers for an idea, you can test your own idea, you can prove your own idea, and you become what the guys from Music Smash, which is the company that does lyrics for Spotify and other platforms online. You become what they call a dangerous PM. You're not only asking, you can prove, you can test, you can try it out. Well, here at Ivan First, every quarter we do a PI planning, which is a planning of the next quarter, basically. We get the whole tech team together for 2 days where we plan out all of our projects and our dependencies. They're not only 2 very productive days and very effective for planning, they're also 2 very fun days. And basically to stir up a bit the game, and considering that I was already building a few projects with AI, I thought, why not create a game, create some competition, have an additional fun into these days. So from the memories of my childhood, I tried thinking of a game that was simple enough so that people didn't have to think too much to play, but that was, let's say, a bit addictive, so that people would at least compete and play more than once. I thought of Flappy Bird. But well, I wasn't just gonna relaunch Flappy Bird the same way. I mean, people were very excited for it when it was first launched, but now people just know how it works. Nobody minds. So we thought about Flappy Chouette. Basically, the Chouette, the owl, is the mascot here at Ivan First. And we just launched Flappy Chouette. It works the same way, but as you can see, it's quite different. I had the help of our great designers to change the style. It's quite simple. The bird became an owl. We also changed the background. Instead of just green tubes, we have towers with flames. It's not bad. But most importantly is the process of how I built it and what I learned from it. So basically, I found a ready-made GitHub repository online, which I use for the whole game. And then with Cursor, of course, integrated with the AI model, which is Claude, I built the entire framework around it, which is the website, the homepage, the rankings, as you can probably see here. That's it, the leaderboard, which was a very important part of the game, which is basically you're making people compete. And as in every project, we should have different versions and test it out and, of course, receive customer feedback. I mean, this is a very small exercise, but that's the same principle for every product that you should launch. We had different versions for Flappy Chouette, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each of these versions. We're going to discuss one of the main features, and then a key learning that we can take from it. Okay. So V1 was launched to very, very few people, around 5 people. And the main feature was account creation and connection with Auth0. Basically, for those who know me, I've been for a long time an advocate of passkeys here at Ivan First. I think passkeys are the future. I think they should substitute passwords. They're safer and they're easier to use. So they're only positive things. And so in my mind, before even launching the game, I said, okay, I have to, abide by my words, and I'm gonna do passkey login for the game. It's gonna be great. And today with Auth0 or other platforms, you can easily integrate passkeys or social logins. And user creation, as you can see, it takes probably less than 10 seconds. It's really, really easy. But reality hit the room, hit the face, and I got a message from one of the 5 users saying, I'm too lazy to create an account. Like it's not worth the time for just a stupid game that you created. Then I said, don't worry, it's very, very easy. Like it's not gonna take you long. You can connect with GitHub if you want. Then he says, but I don't trust your game. Second punch from reality. So that made me think quite a bit. Initially, I was a bit sad because I still had to work to do the Auth0 integration, and it worked smoothly. It was pretty good. But after I thought, okay, it can be good, it can be easy, it can take 10 seconds. But if the user doesn't see value in it, if the user doesn't want to create an account, it's worthless. It's not the perfect solution. So straightforward, I thought, let's just ask for a username. It's very easy. It's good enough. Users can still differentiate, even though they don't have an account, even though someone can play with their username. The goal is still to compete for the highest score. So if someone gets a higher score with your username, even better. And the key learning that I took from this is just keep it simple. Creating complexity is much easier than we think. So in this case, I removed Auth0 integration. The code became 100 times simpler. The user experience became simpler. Everything became better. All right, let's go to the second version. This time we launched to a bit more people. We were already in the office, so people started using it. And reality hit the face as well a second time when someone said, somebody hacked the game. And I was like, bro, this is supposed to be just a fun game for people to compete fairly. Like, why is someone trying to hack the game? It doesn't make any sense. It's worth nothing. Well, but then if you think about it, you're launching a game in a room full of developers. People are going to inspect your game. Someone is going to try to break the system. Someone is always going to try to break the system. So I acted swiftly. Well, so this is just showing like what the hacker did, which wasn't very smart. He just put a score that was like out of reality, so it was very, very, very easy to detect. And acting swiftly, I deleted the entry from the database, so did some moderation. I put some limits with Supabase. Well, for those, by the way, parentheses, for those who don't know Supabase, great solution. Usually when you're coding with AI, it's always going to suggest you to use Supabase. It can be used as your backend, as your database. It's very easy to integrate. Most of the models already know the endpoints and how to do the integration, so all you need to give is your API key. So very, very, very easy. And with Supabase, we can also put limits on the highest score possible. So given the physics of the game, I don't think someone could make more than 9 million. And then another action was to obfuscate the JavaScript. So basically, people couldn't inspect in the browser and change the game behavior. Well, of course, it's not a perfect solution. Of course, there are still like doors of entry where people can still hack the game. But taking from the first learning, which is keep it simple, it was an adequate solution. People still trusted the game, so nobody lost trust in the leaderboard because we acted fast. And it didn't cost too much. It wasn't like a super complex solution. Key lesson of V2, anticipate risks. Someone is always going to try to break your system. Keep that in mind. Third version, we launched to the whole team. There was a big QR code on the screen where people could just play the game. People would scan with their phones, of course. And then someone said it would be nice to play with a spacebar. Yeah, because a lot of our colleagues were on their PC already. I mean, they're at work, they have their PC. They receive a link via Microsoft Teams. They open it on their PC. Then they would have to play Flappy Bird with the mouse, which isn't great. Come on, it's not the best experience. One thing is to touch on your phone. Another thing is to click on your mouse. And that night I went back home. I asked Cursor, of course, didn't do it myself, to create the desktop version, which is widescreen. You can play with whatever screen size. It completely fills the screen, and more importantly, with the spacebar. So it's very, very easy to play with the spacebar. That's what I was playing before the beginning of the talk. And the effect was clear. Like the next day when this version was available, we saw an enormous jump from mobile to desktop gameplay. And a very important learning out of this is know your users. So not only like know who your users are, what are the demographics, what are their habits, but where they are, what platform are they using? Are they mostly on their PC? And through what platform they're going to come across your service. In our case, most people just had a link sent to Teams, which was on their PC most of the times. They had their PC open. So it was, of course, much more adequate to launch a game for the PC. Well, we had a lot of success with the game. We had almost 6,000 matches. A bit less than 81 players because that's the total number of usernames, and we have quite a lot of creative people who have multiple usernames. The average score was very low, but our best player did 662, which means a match of around 10 minutes, which is absolutely insane. And taking some assumptions, we calculated that throughout all of the matches, the owl, the Chouette, flew around 4,600 kilometers. Basically, in some points, you can cross the Atlantic. So quite a long distance. Could be a migration bird. We're living through revolutionary times. Like never in the history of computers and the internet, someone would have been able to create a game and the whole structure around it, leaderboard, database, homepage, and all of the other features, authentication, with almost zero technical experience. I'm not a developer. I'm familiar with development, but of course I'm not a developer. I didn't write any single line of code for all of this. And of course, people back in the day, they learned, but it took probably 10 times longer. And with this revolution, the role of the PM also changes, as we're able to leapfrog technical complexity and start building. We can build MVPs, we can build POCs. For simple projects, we can build like complete applications. And then, of course, this doesn't replace the role of the software engineer, but it allows you to test, try out, try with customers, adapt your idea until you have something ready that then your software engineer is just gonna make 100 times better and do magic with it, basically. When you start building, your mindset changes. It's almost like a virus. When you start building quick solutions for different problems of your day-to-day, you start seeing ideas for building things everywhere, really, really everywhere. And that's when you start building that you understand the number one role of the product manager. You understand why the number one role of the product manager is so important, which is prioritization. When you have 100 ideas, you face the reality that you can't execute all of them. You must prioritize. And that's basically our day-to-day reality as product managers. Sometimes we don't face it ourselves because we're not the ones developing, but that's really what our developers face. Like, you have 100 tickets on Jira, You're not going to be able to do all of them at once. You need clarity. You need priorities specified by your product manager. Thank you.